What if I told you that one of the most iconic players in Ravens history might not be part of the team in 2025? Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what's at stake right now. Justin Tucker, the guy who's always been the most reliable under pressure, is going through a tough phase, both on and off the field. The questions are popping up. Will he continue being the pillar for the Ravens? Or will the team move forward and look for new options for the future? The situation is getting tenser by the minute, full of twists and turns. Stay with me until the end, and let's uncover what's really going on behind all this. Go Ravens! Every Ravens fan knows what Justin Tucker represents. For years, when the offense couldn't get any further and all that was left was to rely on a kick, it felt like the entire stadium could breathe a sigh of relief just by seeing him step onto the field. It was automatic. He'd set the ball, take his steps back, and you start celebrating even before the ball left the ground. He was the guy, the most accurate, the coldest, the most reliable. But in 2024, something changed. He started missing kicks. And it wasn't just one or two. It was more than we expected. Tucker made only 22 out of 30 attempts. That's 73%, the worst of his career. To the fans, it was strange. To the opposition, it became a glimmer of hope. For the first time in many years, other teams started believing there was a chance for him to miss. What bothered fans the most was that these misses didn't just come from long, difficult attempts. He also missed extra points and shots he used to make with his eyes closed. When you see that from a player like Tucker, who's been nearly perfect, doubt starts creeping in, even for the most loyal. Is he feeling the weight of the years? Is his leg not as strong anymore? Or is the issue mental from everything going on off the field? Nobody knows for sure. But what we do see is that even the team has started acting differently. And that, my friend, is never by chance. Because you don't just start testing new kickers out of nowhere. Baltimore brought in a kid from Florida State to train, a guy who had a perfect record and nailed long kicks with precision. That doesn't happen if everything was fine with Tucker. The coaching staff is watching. They're paying attention. They're preparing. The truth is, no one lasts forever in the NFL, no matter how incredible they've been. Watching Justin Tucker start to slip on the details that made him a legend is tough. But that's the reality. The game doesn't wait. And the fans can feel when their idol starts losing that shine that was once unquestionable. And the worst part is, what's happening on the field is no longer the only problem. Because off the field, Tucker's name has started appearing in headlines, and for some very serious reasons. Every player gets older. It's inevitable. But with Justin Tucker, we thought it would take much longer for this to happen. After all, he's a kicker, and that's one of the positions that usually last longer in the NFL. There are guys kicking well into their late 30s. But now, at 35, his body seems to be starting to show signs. You might not notice it right away, but the details give it away. The long kicks that used to easily sail across the field now seem heavier. The confidence in his strike, the speed in his execution, all of that has lost a little bit of its edge. It's subtle, but for someone who watches every game, it's noticeable. Last season made it clear. In situations he used to dominate, Tucker hesitated. Some 50 or 55-yard kicks that used to be almost automatic for him became risky attempts. And the worst part, he missed them more frequently. When a guy like him starts failing at his specialties, fans begin to understand that time is taking its toll. And it's not just physical. Age also brings mental pressure. The stakes are higher. Self-confidence can waver. And with everything going on off the field, that pressure only adds up. It seems like Tucker isn't just getting older. He's also more burdened. And that affects his performance directly. The Ravens know this. The coaching staff knows this. They're watching practices, the stretches, the warm-ups. They measure everything, evaluate every move. And when they see that the kick isn't coming off as it used to, even if no one says anything officially, internally, the alarms start ringing. That's how the NFL works. No one is immune to time. For fans, it's hard to accept. We want to believe the guy still has something left in the tank. And maybe he does. But the question now is, can Tucker still deliver what the team needs at this stage of his career? Because if he can't, the franchise will have to make some tough, but necessary decisions. And the problem is beyond age and declining performance. Tucker now also has to deal with serious accusations off the field, and that could weigh even heavier. And you fan, have you noticed how age starts to take a toll even on the biggest names like Tucker? Comment below if you've noticed this change in his kicks in the last games, or if you remember another veteran who gradually lost their performance. Let's discuss this in the comments. What was once just a conversation about performance has now turned into a much bigger problem. 16 massage therapists have accused Justin Tucker of inappropriate behavior during sessions held between 2012 and 2016. The accusation is serious. And even though the facts are still under investigation, the mere existence of such an allegation completely changes the narrative surrounding the player. Tucker denies everything. He was straightforward, stating that none of this happened and that he is willing to cooperate with the investigation. But the NFL didn't ignore it. They launched a formal inquiry and are looking into all the details. This shows that the matter isn't simple or superficial. When the league gets involved, it's because there's enough material to be taken seriously. This kind of situation affects much more than public image. Even if the fans can't see it yet, the locker room feels it. The routine changes, the atmosphere gets tense, and teammates start acting with more caution. The calm that once surrounded Tucker within the organization has disappeared. And no matter how much he tries to stay focused, there's no way this won't impact his performance. The team, so far, has stuck to the same approach, watching closely and not taking sides too early. It's a strategic choice. Any hasty move could turn into a disaster, whether it's offering support or distancing themselves. But at the same time, this posture signals that they are preparing, either to absorb the impact of an acquittal or to face the consequences of a conviction. This waiting period, however, doesn't prevent silent decisions from being made behind the scenes. The team needs to be ready to act quickly, because a league suspension could take Tucker off the field for an indefinite amount of time. And when that happens, every day counts, especially for a position as sensitive as kicker. This is where reputation starts to weigh heavily. Even a legendary player with years of service can become a risk for the organization. It's not just about justice or judgment. It's about how this impacts the team's structure, focus in practice, public image, and most importantly, performance on the field. When all of this comes into play, patience starts to wear thin. And while the public narrative is still one of waiting, the internal signs show that the franchise is already moving cautiously, which reveals a lot about what lies ahead. Since the allegations surfaced, the Ravens' stance has been clear, calm and caution. There are no bombastic statements or impulsive actions, just a careful watch over how the situation unfolds. The team is waiting for the results of the investigation before making any decisions, which is understandable given the weight of the matter. This kind of strategic posture can be interpreted in various ways. On one hand, the franchise shows that it is committed to transparency and wants to fully understand what really happened before taking action. On the other hand, it's clear that the team is preparing for any scenario, including the possibility of not having Tucker on the roster in the near future. The thing is, by staying silent, the Ravens aren't just waiting for the investigation. They're also assessing the impact of the case on the team. When a player's image is tarnished, especially one with Tucker's status, the atmosphere in the locker room and the perception of his teammates change. Confidence, one of the kicker's greatest virtues, can start to wane. Additionally, there's a practical aspect. If the allegations are proven true or if the situation drags on too long, the team needs a plan B, and the signs of this are clear. The search for alternatives, such as the hiring of new kickers for private training, is an attempt to ensure that, if the situation worsens, the team will be ready to move forward without losing quality in the position. The NFL game is ruthless. No matter who you are, if your production drops, decisions are made fast. And if Tucker can't maintain the level the team expects, combined with the weight of the off-field case, the chances of him no longer being the key player for the Ravens increase significantly. It's sad, but it's the reality of the sport. What seems clear now is that, while Tucker's future remains uncertain, the Ravens are not standing still. They are preparing for any eventuality. And in football, if you're not anticipating change, you're already falling behind. But as the team prepares to act, the question remains, Will Tucker's on-field performance be enough to make up for the external issues he's facing? Well, we're moving on to the fifth topic. But before we continue, I notice that you haven't left your like on this video yet. It's really important so that YouTube keeps recommending my content to you, and that way, I'll keep bringing you the best content about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead, hit that like button. It's free. Thanks. Continuing. There's no denying it, Justin Tucker was, for a long time, the pillar of reliability for the Ravens. For years, he was a guy you knew you could count on, the one who never missed in crucial moments. But the question now is he still the same player? Is his level still at the top? On paper, Tucker still has impressive numbers. He is the Ravens' all-time leading scorer and has collected iconic moments throughout his career. When the ball goes to him, the stadium, most of the time, already knows the points are coming. But the reality on the field has shown a different story recently. His accuracy percentage has dropped, and mistakes on longer kicks have become more frequent. What once seemed like unshakable confidence now feels like a slightly riskier bet. If we only look at his performance, the answer isn't simple. Tucker is still an elite kicker, but last season reflected that even the greatest have their bad days. He was more unstable, and the consistency that has always been his trademark was compromised. And in football, especially in such a crucial position, the margin for error is almost non-existent. The fact that the Ravens are working with other kickers, such as Ryan Fitzgerald from Florida State, makes it clear that the franchise is exploring alternatives. This doesn't mean Tucker is being immediately dismissed, but the team is clearly preparing for a potential transition. They can't afford to wait and see if his performance improves over time. The NFL doesn't work that way. And that's where the doubt comes in. Does Tucker still have what it takes to be the game changer he was for so long? Or is he simply falling behind like many veteran athletes who lose their intensity as the years go by? The quality of his performance will be the key to his future in Baltimore. If he can't return to the expected level, it may be time to make room for something new. But are age and instability in recent games enough to overshadow everything Tucker has done for the team? Does he deserve another chance? Or are the Ravens already looking at their future without him? In the meantime, the franchise continues to observe. Their decision will be based on both Tucker's performance and the team's future. The Ravens team has always been strategic, and now, more than ever, they are taking steps to ensure they aren't caught off guard. Even with Tucker still on the roster, the franchise is already making moves to prepare for the future. It's not about an immediate dismissal, but rather a careful plan focused on a possible future without the kicker who has defined so many games over the last decade. The search for alternatives is already visible. Evaluation work with new kickers, such as Ryan Fitzgerald, shows that the franchise isn't just waiting for time to define Tucker's fate. They know that a transition may be necessary, and that's why they're testing options to make sure they have alternatives in case of need. It's not an easy decision, but the NFL doesn't leave room for sentimentality. Production has to be at the top. This creates a delicate situation for the player. No matter how much he's been a reference for the franchise, what matters now is results. And if he can't maintain his previous level, the need for change becomes a matter of logic. Tucker still has the ability to be excellent, but will he be able to adjust to expectations and overcome his recent struggles? Additionally, the off-field allegations also put even more pressure on the situation. The combination of these two factors, the drop in performance and the legal issues, means that the Ravens need to be proactive. They know they need a solution, whether to cover the position in the short or long term. And if Tucker can't overcome these challenges, the franchise will have to look to the future without hesitation. It's impossible to predict exactly how things will unfold, but the team isn't waiting to make decisions. They know things can change quickly, and that's why they're acting now, testing alternatives, making sure they won't be short on options. Instability at the kicker position can be a serious risk for any team, and the Ravens won't take that risk if they can avoid it. At the core, the Ravens are trying to balance respect for what Tucker has done and the need to ensure a safe future for the franchise. His legacy is undeniable, but the team needs to move forward with the same confidence and ambition as always. And for that, the choices must be made based on what lies ahead. The big question now is, What does the future hold for Tucker? And will he be able to prove that he still has something to offer the Ravens? And if you've made it this far, leave a comment saying the Ravens are preparing for the future. So I'll know you see the strategy the team is adopting to secure the next phase, with or without Tucker. Continuing. The big question now is, what will the future hold for Justin Tucker? He made history with the Ravens, and his legacy is undeniable. But the current circumstances put everything in question. Between the off-field allegations and on-field performance issues, the road ahead is unclear. The team is at a crossroads, and all options are being considered. What matters most now is the progress of the investigations. If Tucker is exonerated, he will likely have the chance to recover and reclaim his position, but the lingering question is whether he will be able to return to his level of excellence after a period of instability. Time will be a crucial factor, both in clearing his name and improving his on-field performance. On the other hand, if the allegations are confirmed or if his performance continues to fall short of expectations, the Ravens' decision may be more drastic. The team is already testing new kickers, meaning the franchise is not willing to wait indefinitely to see if Tucker can bounce back. The NFL is a ruthless league, and teams can't afford to invest in a player who no longer offers the same level of trust. Moreover, the pressure to renew the kicker position may increase as the Ravens assess other alternatives in the market. With the NFL being a league of quick results, changes can happen abruptly, and the need for a transition is already being considered in Baltimore. No matter how vital Tucker has been for the team in the past, the present and the future always matter more. At this moment, the wisest course is to wait. Tucker still holds value, and if he can overcome the obstacles that have arisen, both on and off the field, he may continue to be a pillar for the team. But the risk of change is real, and the Ravens are preparing for any scenario, putting Tucker in a vulnerable position. Justin Tucker's immediate future is in suspense. Time will tell if he will be able to redeem himself and return to being the reliable kicker Baltimore knew for so many years. But at the same time, the Ravens cannot remain idle, waiting to see. The pressure to move forward and adapt is immense. The question now is, will Tucker prove that he is still capable of being the best, or will the franchise move forward and find a new face for the Ravens' future? Now, it all comes down to one question. What will the Ravens do with Justin Tucker in 2025? His history with the team is undeniable, but the future is filled with uncertainties. The combination of struggles on the field and off-field issues has put the team at a crossroads. The Ravens need to be quick and decisive, as the future of the franchise may depend on it. Tucker still has a lot to offer, but will he be able to return to the level that an elite team needs? Or will Baltimore look for new possibilities, seeking something that offers more security and results? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the Ravens' next decisions will be crucial. And what do you think? Leave your opinion in the comments, because this conversation is far from over.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself. See you there, and until the next video, go Flock.